All right, welcome to Saturday's DB2. One more day till most of the football. So excited for that. David Brem here with Daniel Butler as always. Butler, let's talk about Jaguars wide receivers. I know your favorite team. We've established this. It's your new favorite team. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm going to let you take the floor to start it out.
Okay, so not my favorite team, by the way, but
Seems like it might be.
I'll go ahead and say yes. I will admit I have adopted Trevor Lawrence a little bit as my favorite quarterback. Big fan. He's like the opposite of Jared Goff, but just throw in Jared Goff whenever I
Always has to
can.
be brought up.
But yeah, Trevor Lawrence. Everything I see when I see people breaking down his film, looking at the highlights, it just seems like he's really good. All right, Trevor Lawrence is gonna be really good, and he's currently pretty good. Everything seems to be pointing on the up and up on that. Good job drafting him, Urban Meyer. That was a good decision. He doesn't get, he's not really known for good decision making, but taking Trevor Lawrence number one, which was a very difficult decision. No one could have seen that coming. That was a great decision, Urban Meyer. Go with your gut, but don't really, because that doesn't seem to be working out too well. But
I don't want to be
anyways,
involved in this. Can you
Trevor
see my
Lawrence.
screen black on the video?
Yeah, he's been looking really solid. I think there's a realistic shot that they win against Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
So I like it's basically a coin flip, but it is in Seattle. That's the only reason that I'm a coin flip, but it's not a game I would bet on. But I kind of feel like Seattle is terrible and Geno Smith is not good. I think I'm not saying anything that's too crazy there.
All
But
fair
the
take.
fact that it's in Seattle makes me a little more nervous on that. But yeah, Lawrence. Okay, so this isn't a Trevor Lawrence video though. It's a Marvin Jones
I was
slash
wondering how long it'd take you.
Shenault and whoever else we want to talk about. But here's the thing, all right? Oh, and Tavon Austin. I know you got to talk about Tavon Austin. But yeah, so Marvin Jones coming off of a fantastic game in week 6. They had a bye in week 7, so his week 7 was not great. I had as many points as Marvin Jones had in week 7, uh, but I also probably should be in the NFL, so that's fair. Seven
Not true.
for 100 and a
Just not
touchdown
true.
and 10 targets. So they threw him a lot. I love Marvin Jones. I liked him when he was in Cincinnati. He was in Cincinnati. He went to Detroit. There was another stop maybe in there somewhere. Wasn't there another stop in there? I think so. I don't know. But
I don't
anyways,
remember another stop.
if not, sorry. But Marvin Jones, wasn't it like Philadelphia or
I don't know.
something?
Talk about him. I'll look it up.
Okay, no, it's fine. I got it. Marvin Jones played in nowhere else. I'm going crazy. Detroit, Cincinnati, and Jacksonville. Okay. See, that
That's why
wasn't
I'm the
too bad.
smart one on the show.
Anyways, I remembered Cincinnati. I just thought there was another stop between. I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking. Okay. Anyways, Marvin Jones, great game. 7 for 100 and a touchdown in week 6. We didn't really talk about it obviously since because they were on a bye week, but I'm pretty high on Trevor Lawrence. They got a pretty good schedule rest of the season. You always like playing cupcakes, right? You play the Texans. I'm a Texans fan. Not a great team. You
Love that
play
matchup.
Yeah, so when you play bad teams, that helps as well. I'm pretty sure that that's a good thing when you play for fantasy purposes. So Marvin Jones, wide receiver 8 in week 6, and Shenault also was wide receiver 31, but had 10 targets as well. So when we look at these wide receivers, I'm pretty high on them because I am high on Trevor Lawrence, and I think Marvin Jones just may be a top 30 wide receiver rest away, which I know
Really,
he was
really going
drafted
on a limb on that one.
he was drafted at 32, but
No, he's drafted at 48. He's at 32 now.
he's drafted at 48. Oh yeah, there we go. I don't know how to read, even though I was the one that made that beautiful worksheet. But yeah, drafted at 48. I'm like, is that right? Yeah, 32. I'm gonna say he's a top 30 rest away. So starting now, I mean, you say going out on a limb, you draft him at 48. He's currently not in the top 30. So what do you think about Marvin Jones? About rest of season as well as Chenault, if you want to talk about him as well.
Yeah. So I'm not nearly as high on this offense, other than James Robinson, who I love. But we're not talking about him today. And unlike you, I know how to stay on topic. Um, so I'm not as high on Trevor Lawrence in the whole passing game. I really like the schedule you've laid out a couple times. You love playing Houston late in the season. Let's be honest, the rest of the division's not fantastic either. I uh, I think since you only went up to 30, I don't think that's crazy. I think that's possible. Um, I would probably say he's if you gave me like 35, I'd feel pretty confident in that. I think Marvin Jones is the guy, but I honestly think Shenault could be only a couple spots behind him. I think they're going to kind of be in a race the rest of the season. I think they could both kind of be where they are. So I am actually higher on Shenault because he's been worse this year, and I expect him to finish higher, I guess, if you want to say that. So I think they're about even, and I think they could both end up being in the top 35. Like in somewhere between 30 and 35. I can see them both ending up right there.
Okay, well here we go. I mentioned the schedule, then you said it again. So I'm like, okay, I feel like I should look it up. Okay, so they play Seattle, not scared of them, in week 8.
8.
Okay, they play Buffalo in week 9.
Not ideal.
Not ideal. Indianapolis in week 10. Then
Not
they play
bad.
San Francisco. They play Atlanta,
Oh,
the Rams, Tennessee, Houston. This is the best part. They play the last 4: Houston, the Jets, the Patriots, the Colts. That's how they round out the rest of the
yeah.
season. So
You love that.
I feel like the schedule's really generous the rest of the season. And I was looking at so again, looking at Fantasy Pros here, they have him at wide receiver 39, Marvin Jones, rest of the season. Here's who they have above it. All right, I said top 30. Would you rather have him or Corey Davis?
I'd probably take the chance on Marvin Jones. It depends on what Flacco does this week, but
We talked about Julio Jones. I think you'd rather have him over
oh yeah,
Julio.
no question.
Devontae Smith in Philadelphia.
I'd probably rather have Jones.
Yeah, I think that I'm not really high on Devontae Smith. Kadarius Toney, I don't think he will.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's so
Okay,
high.
here's I think this one's kind of interesting because we're gonna assume that he comes back sometime soon. What about Tyler Lockett?
That one's tough, and that's weird because Tyler Lockett was such a tear at the beginning. I think I have to take the upside of Lockett, assuming Russell Wilson comes back soon. But I will say confidently, as long as Geno Smith is in at quarterback, it's Marvin Jones without question.
Yeah, that one's tough for me just because like right now, like obviously you're not playing. You'd rather play Marvin Jones. Jerry Judy.
I feel like we just talked about him. I would probably go Judy. I'm pretty high. I think he's going to come back and play really well.
Uh, Man, that was really close for me. I'm not sure. Emmanuel Sanders.
I love Emmanuel Sanders. I'm going Sanders.
I would go Marvin there. Brandon Cooks.
Cooks.
Man, it's so tough because I said top 30, but I get to these guys. T. Higgins. Man, I'd probably take T. Higgins over him.
I'd probably rather have Higgins.
It's really close. It might be like top 32, which is about where he is
Yeah.
now. But yeah, he's drafted at 48, 50-ish around there.
He's going to outperform that. I feel very confident.
Yeah,
there.
and I feel like the schedule's pretty generous. You're not going to feel really worried about the matchup anytime. You're like, oh, they're going to not score on this team. Maybe
Well,
Buffalo.
you went through that whole schedule. There was 2 that I didn't like.
Yeah,
It was
uh,
Buffalo and I want to say the Chargers.
there was the 49ers there.
Nah. Oh, it was Rams.
Which the
Not
Rams
Chargers.
are, what is in Los
Yeah,
Angeles,
but
but I
it's
don't
not
know.
huge, but you still don't feel as good as the rest of the games.
But yeah, the defenses there aren't overly, they're not very good. So yeah, I like his schedule. I think he could be a top a 30 guy. I think he could definitely have some big weeks like he just had in week 6. And it's really him for me. I don't really see much value beyond him, but because I love myself some Trevor Lawrence, I will say Marvin Jones, even though I just went through and I don't think I could list off 30.
Now you're just gonna lie.
I
Is
don't
that what you're
think
gonna
he's
do
a
right
top
now?
30 wide receiver, but I'm going to say it anyway and just go with it because I think there's probably 30 guys I'd rather have over him. But it's like 32, so it's like just say top 30. Don't even just
Somebody will get
fudge
hurt.
the numbers a little bit. It's fine. I'm going to say top 30.
So and a guy that maybe doesn't have a ton of value right now and you could trade very easily for, that maybe you just stash for the playoffs. I mean, with that schedule, even if you're not going to be starting him up to that point, could be a nice stash if one of your guys maybe he's on a team that is got it locked up and doesn't have to play,
I mean,
or you're just like, hey,
in week 15, he plays Houston. In week 16,
love
he
it.
plays the Jets. Those
Yeah,
are
you
like
love that.
primetime games that you, and I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like you're worried about in week 17 he plays the Patriots. It's in New England. May not like that, the weather. Week 18, the Colts, if you play in week 18. So, I
I
mean,
forgot about week 18, if I'm being honest.
yeah, so it's not, I mean, the schedule's
Yeah.
very, very juicy at the end there.
So, all right. Well, if you made it this far, thank you very much. Very much appreciate that. Hit the like button, helps us out a lot. Leave a comment. We're here 5 days a week. Or Tuesdays, injuries, waiver wire. Wednesdays, look ahead to the next week. The other three, kind of up in the air. This week we did players. Talked about Tennessee wide receivers this week. We talked about Jerry Jeudy coming back, and then obviously the Jacksonville Jaguars today. If there's something you want us to talk about in one of those 3 episodes, for sure leave a comment. We'll check it out and maybe make an episode about that. But we appreciate you coming by.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, Tuesday through Saturday, 5 days a week. So if you're here, check out the other videos. There's some good takes there, or check out and look at some old videos and be like, look at the titles and be like, this is gotta be a terrible take, and it might be. So there's some
Probably.
stuff there. So thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate that. And leave a like if you did enjoy, and come back if you also enjoyed, because that really does help us out. Views help, watch time helps. Surprise, that's good for YouTube.
Doc.
So thank you so much for that, and have a wonderful day. And we'll see you. I guess we'll see you next week after some football. If you're watching this the day it goes live, so have a wonderful week 8. Good luck. See ya.
Yep.